Mixed Martial Mike. I am Joey KO, your host with the most, and we're covering this future event that's going to be Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Jake Paul finally decided to fight a real boxer.
Wow, congratulations. Let's applaud this man.
He's going to get his ass whooped. Jake Paul has not really been too impressive to me. His last performance, I thought he got a gift against Tyron Woodley, even though Tyron Woodley is a gun-shy fighter. I think if Tyron Woodley would have thrown more bows no bows, but threw more punches, he would have definitely won. And if he would have got credit for the knockdown that he deserved, he would have definitely won. So I see this as a Jake Paul gift, and he's stepping up against a real boxer. I don't see how he wins this fight. What's your take?
Well, the way I'm looking at this, you got to give Jake Paul credit for stepping up to fight an MMA champion, a former MMA champion in Tyron Woodley.
A legend,
a complete legend. And we've had this conversation off camera. I've told him that if you want to compare their last opponents, I would argue that Jake Paul fought the much better opponent, deserving or undeserving. But you definitely argued that Tommy Fury's opponent would definitely knock out everybody else besides Woodley that Jake Paul's fought. And I have to agree with you on that. It's still, though, in my opinion, a step-up fight. You don't think this is a step-up fight for Tommy Fury from that bumski who let me be nice to him. He's a tough guy. It was a tough out for Tommy Fury, even though he dominated most of those rounds. But it was still a tough, tricky fight for him.
He was tricky. He was moving a lot.
He was moving.
But this is the thing. This is the way I see it.
Right.
I see it as that guy is much better than the other guys that Jake Paul has fought. And there's no telling if Jake Paul can even beat the guy that Tommy Fury beat, in my opinion, because he didn't look good against Tyron Woodley. I felt like he got a gift in that fight. He beat 3 guys that he was supposed to beat inherently. The only guy that I really give him credit for is the former MMA wrestler,
Ben Askren.
Ben Askren is the only guy that I give him some credit because Ben Askren is a tough guy.
But even for MMA striking,
he's not a striker.
Horrible.
He's
no,
not
but
a
even
striker.
if you want to compare him to MMA fighters, he's fucking way below the average MMA fighter.
It is clear to say that Ben Askren is not a striker at all. But he's a tough guy that could take punches. And another thing about that fight,
right,
it didn't do him no justice that they prematurely stopped the fight because he got back up.
It would have been nice to see that fight continue.
You know, I think Jake Paul would have learned more and would have got more experience in if they would have let the fight continue. So right now, there's really a lot of unanswered questions with Jake Paul.
I would argue with Tommy Fury as well, though. To your point, Tommy Fury does have the fundamentals down. He throws his punches fully, even though he does kind of, what do you call that?
He
smothers his own punches.
But no, he's actually a much better striker than Jake Paul. And I'm going to tell you why I think that he's going to beat Jake Paul. He does the little things. Little things make a big difference.
That's what she said.
One thing I noticed about Tommy Fury is that he was clinching when he needed to. There was plenty of moments in that Tyron Woodley fight where Jake Paul should have clinched and he didn't.
Absolutely.
So against Tommy Fury is going to be able to clinch, fight more in the pocket. He's more fluent. He's a lot busier than Tyron Woodley. Woodley is not a busy fighter.
Actually, that was an amazing point. Because Woodley, to his point, that was an amazing point because Woodley, that was most frustrating part of his performance, the fact that he wasn't using what he could have transferred over to boxing, which is his clinching game. He could have easily clinched, got some dirty boxing off, and then let go, but he didn't do that throughout the whole fight. So
Tyron Woodley's career, and he's even gotten a lot of criticism from even Dana White for not letting his hands go. It happens sometimes with power punches. Now, he did, in my opinion, score a knockdown on Jake Paul.
Right.
That did not get credited. And to me, Jake Paul landed about 2 good punches on Woodley. That's it. I don't see.
By good punch, are you referring to flush 100% land? Because I do believe he landed a lot of jabs A lot of clean jabs. He did land a couple body shots. Did he have the most beautiful technique when it came to that jab? No, it was a lot of shoulder.
When I say good punches, I mean damaging punches.
Okay.
He did not do anything to Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley could have gone for 4 more rounds. The more spent fighter was Jake Paul. At the end of that fight, Jake Paul looked like he cannot do more rounds.
And Tyron Woodley looked like he was ready to fight another round.
Yeah, because he preserves his gas tank. He fights, he doesn't fight with a sense of urgency, and he's more experienced in battles.
But what were you talking about?
Of high intensity battles.
You were talking about the fact that being bulky for boxers is actually contradictory to what you need, because it keeps you blocked, and that's what Tyron Woodley has, a lot of muscle.
Well, the thing is, Tyron Woodley and a lot of these fighters, they're naturally like that. I highly doubt, because fighters do not bulk up. They don't hit the weights naturally.
Don't roll it. No, up. With your side. With your legs, not your back. Are you lifting?
So a lot of these fighters, they're cut up like that naturally. They're not actually training to buff up. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, like when you see a guy at the gym trying to bulk up and buff up, he's hitting the weights. Fighters do not hit weights. They probably do it once a week because they need to be more fluent. That's why a lot of boxers throughout history that's got big knockouts were not, you could look at Tommy Hearns and Felix Trinidad. They wasn't bulky guys and they'll knock you the fuck out.
That's a great point.
It's because they work on calisthenics and fluidity of the punches.
Well, if you look at Nate Diaz's body type versus Tyron Woodley's body type, it's no wonder why Nate Diaz is able to let go of 500 punches a fight, because he doesn't have as much to hold on to.
It's also on how they throw their punches. One loads up on his punches, one doesn't. Because Tyron Woodley, and it happens to a lot of fighters, that they count on the knockout power way too much.
Absolutely.
So they try to sit on their punches and they wait and they patiently try to land those big punches to hurt you.
And Tommy Fury's not going to do that. Tommy Fury proved he can throw the little shots to win the fight, can throw the jabs to the body, the jabs to the face.
He's not a big puncher, so he's going to focus on landing volume. He did show that he knows how to box. He understands boxing better than Jake Paul. Jake Paul has not quite, he didn't have the experience with the right people to gain that. Maybe he's training with the right guys at the gym. He does have J.D. Love on his corner, but I'm going to tell you right now, Tommy has one of the top heavyweights of the world right now, which is his brother.
And his father's pretty badass too.
His father was a professional. I mean, he's in a family of fighters.
Facts.
Of boxers, really. Not fighters in MMA.
He said it though. He has a bloodline. He's a
bloodline in boxing. He has a lot of experience within his family of training. He did have more fights as a professional boxer, and he has 4 other boxers.
And they say they're half brothers, but the connection is John Fury. So the fighting lineage is still in Tommy Fury.
In the blood.
So he has it in his blood. And one thing I will say, I have to give Jake Paul credit for one thing. He stuck to the game plan. He stood on the outside. He stuck the jab. He was able to move laterally in and out. It wasn't beautiful work. It was fundamental, but it was no special effects. But he showed that in a tough situation, he can dig deep, keep composed.
He didn't get frustrated with a frustrated fighter.
Kept throwing punches, and that's actually the reason why he won the fight. Even if you think it was deserving or not, he kept throwing, and Tyron didn't. And the reason in boxing, you get a lot of credit for just throwing punches. We've always had that conversation. You get a lot of credit for just throwing punches.
That's part of winning a fight. They judge you on activity as well, and effective aggression and things like that.
So Woodley was bringing the fight, but Jake Paul was bringing the punches. So I'm sure it was difficult for the judges to judge because of that. It's a tough
I just
situation.
think it was a gift. To me, it wasn't a hard. I don't think that was a tough fight to score, because at the end of the day, you gotta have effectiveness, and there wasn't too much effectiveness from Jake Paul throughout that whole fight.
I don't know. He landed a lot of good jabs. He kept Woodley off of him a lot of the time.
He did not land good jabs. He did not land damaging punches.
He landed good jabs. You wilding out.
He did not. In my opinion, he didn't do shit. He landed 2 good punches in that whole fight. And those jabs, I mean, who landed the better jabs? Woodley. I
He
think
la-
Woodley
no, I
clearly
think
landed the better
you
jabs.
was lying when you
He
talk
landed
about
the more stiffer
he was
jabs
the
and harder
more
punches.
he landed the better shots. If you do a highlight compilation, but that's not how you judge a fight. It's 3 minutes, 8 rounds. So in the 3-minute 8 rounds, Jake Paul
Aggression.
landed more. He controlled a lot of the fight because Woodley wasn't throwing
He
a
didn't
punch.
control the fight. First of all, aggression, Woodley. Effective aggression, Woodley. Activity is the only thing that I give Jake Paul.
But let's not
be
dive too
honest.
much into Woodley, Jake Paul. I'm only bringing that up because Jake Paul proved he can go 8 rounds with a professional fighter. I didn't say professional boxer. He
Well-
proved that he could follow a game plan. He has a decent jab and he has a decent right hand. So can he compete with Tommy Fury? Absolutely. And if he beats him, I would not be shocked.
I say absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you why right now. First of all, Tommy Fury is the first guy that's going to be at his same size. Jake Paul has fought nothing but little guys. He has not really fought guys at his weight.
You're absolutely right.
Now, another thing is that he's fighting a real boxer for the first time. He has never fought an actual boxer. Another thing that's going to be a problem for him is that Tommy Fury is a more active striker and puncher, and he does the small things that he has not seen in the fight. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and we're going to get answers in this fight. If Jake Paul wins this fight, I give him all the credit in the world. But I don't see how he's going to be able to deal with the volume, the technique, and really overall size of Tommy Fury. So I really see this being the first loss, unless they rob him again, they give him another gift.
If I could give Jake Paul any benefit or like any advantage in the fight, his punches have more twitch to him. He can kind of get
hits
from
hard.
point A to B quicker. Because Tommy Fury also is a very muscular guy. It takes him some might and some torque to get off a shot like Brock Lesnar. It takes you some effort when you brolic like that.
Yeah,
For
but
Jake Paul, it's less of an effort to get off a punch.
He's a little more stiff, but this is the
That's
thing.
what I'm saying.
This
Perfect.
is about the experience. Can Jake Paul effectively use his flexibility? I haven't seen anything that proves that he can do it at this level with a guy who knows how to box.
All right.
So if he throws those winging, because think about it, what punches has he landed that got him knockouts?
Winging rights.
It's not straight punches, it's winging rights.
Right.
Winging rights against stiff fighters is not good. You gotta land straight punches.
No, but you gotta give him credit though. It's not like he threw
I'm
wild
giving him
shots
credit.
to Woodley. He threw a lot of straight jabs.
Those,
a lot of right
those
hands
straight
to the body.
jabs, those punches,
count.
they did no damage, Michael. How you want me to give him credit for something that did nothing to Tyron
But how
Woodley?
do you know? You gotta ask Woodley how them punches fell. Maybe they did do something.
Bro, the guy did not look spent at the end of
Yo,
8 rounds.
Nate Diaz be
that tells
landing-
you everything.
Nate Diaz be landing wrist shots. And
Yeah,
he
he's
gets
landing.
points for that.
He's landing
You
a
get
lot
points
of
for that.
solid punches, though. He's landing clean punches.
you get points for that, but you don't get points for a decent jab.
No, he
was
didn't
landing
do
decent
damage.
jabs, right?
Those punches. If you land a jab on me and I roll with the punch, it does nothing. Nate Diaz.
They weren't hard jabs.
Nate and Nick Diaz.
Perfect.
Those guys are landing clean punches.
Okay.
They landing volume punches. They
But they're
kind of let
clean.
their hands go, but they're clean. They do more damage. When you're landing punches that the opponent can see coming and you roll with them, they do 0 damage. It's almost like not being hit. That's the thing with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather rolls with the punches a lot of times. Even when he does get hit,
He lands. Woo!
he lands
on
clean
the
punches,
button.
but we're not talking about landing punches.
yeah.
We're talking
Come on.
about
Yeah, yeah.
defense.
Right.
If I can see the punch coming and I roll with the punch, it's almost like I didn't even get hit.
And
Does
Woodley
0
saw a lot of it.
damage.
Woodley saw a lot of it.
Woodley did
Tommy will see a lot
I
of
can
it.
tell you right now,
Tommy will see
Woodley
it.
felt 2 punches in that whole fight.
But what
And
do you
that's the
think
problem.
Tommy Fury's
Now-
gonna do?
Now in this fight, I think it's gonna be similar.
Okay.
Tommy Fury is gonna land punches that Jake Paul's gonna feel, and if Jake Paul doesn't make adjustments, he's not gonna be able to hurt Tommy Fury. Those wild looping punches are not gonna get it done with a boxer who's disciplined, who got his hands up constantly.
Who will clinch when he needs to? We'll get into the inside.
He's gonna smother Jake Paul. Jake Paul has to work on his combination punches.
in the inside, especially.
And the inside, body shots, clean punches for him to be able to stop. And Tommy Fury is a tough guy. He's gonna be able to take punches, so he's gonna It's gonna take
some
more.
time.
He's gonna have to learn how to break him down, and I just don't see him getting to that level, because what I saw in that Woodley fight was not the improvements that I was even expecting from him to be able to have a chance to beat
I
Woodley.
disagree with you. I think you're being overly harsh on Jake Paul for a guy who has no boxing ability. You're not gonna say I'm judging him on a curve. I agree with you.
Okay, see
judging him
the
on a
curve?
I
I'm
get
judging him wholeheartedly against someone who is a boxer.
But if we are going to play that game, you have to look at recent history. Their last opponents are very similar in their experience. They're both MMA guys. But Woodley is an MMA champion who is known to knock people out with these. The other guy you can't ever pronounce ever, even if you knew who he was.
Yeah, but I also saw a guy who was very tricky and who was fighting the whole time. So that's why
I agree with you. Okay, I got a question for you. I mean, I have something for you to because I do agree with what you're saying to a certain extent as well. Because would that guy have given Jake Paul a tough fight?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
So maybe that's what I should look at better. What would Jake Paul have done to that short guy? But supposedly Logan Paul said he sparred that dude and beat his ass.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
Is it true or not? I don't know.
It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna tell you what I saw.
That's
I'm gonna tell you what I saw.
That's not Jake. That's Logan.
The first guy that Jake Paul fought, easy to hit. Second guy that he fought, Nate was running in with his tippy toes with his chin up.
And he landed on Jake Paul a few times too. Having said all of that.
But what I'm saying is that he's easy to hit. First guy easy to hit. Second guy easy to hit.
Woodley wasn't easy for him.
Ben Askren, easy to hit. He's slow. Easy to hit. Easy to hit. Tyron Woodley, harder to hit. Wasn't able to land those punches. Didn't really do damage in that fight. So now against Tommy Fury, is he going to be able to do what he did to the first three guys? And again, now if Jake Paul fight the guy that Tommy fought in his last fight, he's hard to hit. So is he going to be able to land those punches on that guy? I think that he would have had a hard time with that guy as well. So
wait, hold up. But
overall,
before you keep on,
I need to see improvements from Jake Paul to give him the credit it takes to beat a guy like Tommy Fury.
I don't see how you don't see an improvement. If you fight a professional fighter who's known to knock guys out with his hands, and you last the whole right, you don't get knocked out.
Oh no,
you're
talking about his
way
toughness.
too harsh. Let me talk. You're being way too harsh.
No, I'm not, because I'm not.
Yes,
talking
you are. Great. What the fuck did Tommy Fury do? You gotta show me what Tommy Fury's done.
First of all, I'm talking about the opponent. We're talking about the different opponents.
But he hasn't dominated that.
What improvements have Jake Paul made to make you think that he would have landed punches on that same guy? There isn't big improvements on Jake Paul's striking. Now, if you talk about his toughness, yes, he's
footwork.
tough.
He showed footwork.
Okay, he's shown better footwork.
Defense. He was able to avoid Tyron Woodley's punches.
He's shown better defense. Okay, I'll give him that. But his overall striking, he still landed 3 knockouts with looping punches, not straight strikes.
Right.
And he has not shown the ability to be able to fight, because he hasn't fought guys like that. He hasn't fought guys who move a lot, who's difficult to hit.
Right.
And Tommy Fury did, obviously.
He is that kind of like that. He's not Tyson Fury, but
what I mean
the technique and the mentality.
That is important to your growth and experience. Is he fighting guys like that in his gym? Even in Jake Paul sparring, I did not see anybody like that in his sparring. He fought a bunch of straight up guys that are easy to hit with looping punches. He hasn't fought guys like this one who's very difficult. Like, that's part of your growth. Like, I remember watching Trinidad fight all different types of guys when he was defending his title. And he had the 15 defenses of IBF welterweight title, fighting different guys who move differently, different speeds, some short, some tall, some big, and he would come up off the canvas. That showed his growth as a champion.
Right.
Now, against Jake Paul, we're going to see if his growth, because he hasn't fought anybody like that, but now with a guy like Tommy Fury, he's going to be able to get in his bag of tricks, and I think it's gonna show a lot.
I don't think you're far off. I will argue that you've made amazing points that maybe convinced me that Tommy Fury definitely will win this fight. However, I am not convinced enough to say that it's definitively a fight for him to win or lose, because Jake Paul has the ability to beat him. It's not like he's incredibly smaller than him. He has equal size, equal reach. He's equally fast. There's nothing that Tommy Fury has that's so out of the park and out of the ordinary that Jake Paul hasn't already seen. It's not like Tommy Fury has special effects. It's not like people haven't tried to clinch him in the gym. It's not like he's not going to be able to train that the months before the fight happens. So he will be prepared. He can be prepared. And could he win the fight in the way that he won the Woodley fight? Yeah, he's the popular guy. He could steal the fight just like that.
Yeah, okay, now you're talking. See, I'm not giving him credit for stealing a fight from Woodley. I'm giving him credit if he can actually beat Tommy Fury.
Okay, I think you guys can tell I'm bending the rules for
yeah, so, because that's the truth. Like, what you're doing is being honest. The popular guy usually gets the benefit of the doubt.
Most of the time.
I am not, if he wins a fight like that against Tommy Fury, I am not giving him no credit. Just like I'm giving him no credit for the victory over Woodley. That to me is not a victory. You did not beat Tyron Woodley. To beat someone means you beat him. There's no
Mr. Dustin Poirier beat Conor McGregor, but if you gotta beat him, get out of here with that.
Well, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules. I'm not gonna bend the rules. The rules say that if you break your leg in a fight, you lose.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not a no contest.
You're right.
So even in a boxing fight, if he would have twisted his fucking ankle and fell, he loses.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean that I'm gonna scream like, "Oh, this is the greatest victory ever." Obviously, I get it. That's why they're gonna have another fight.
Yeah.
But in this fight right here, if he beats Tommy Fury convincingly, I will give him all the credit in the world.
And he will have officially got rid of that narrative that he's not a boxer. He's officially win or lose. He's officially a boxer, especially if he continues win or lose.
If he goes to
he got the experience.
If he goes to distance and loses, he's a boxer.
No, even if he gets knocked out midway of the fight, he fought a boxer. You're a boxer now.
Yeah,
the argument was he didn't fight a boxer. Win or lose, he's gonna be considered
now.
a
If he gets his ass beat,
now
you're not a boxer.
You're not
a boxer.
You're a bumski.
Now you need to go back to fighting other YouTubers.
But that's what you believe is possible. I do believe he's gonna perform admirably.
I do too.
And he's gonna perform.
I do too.
Faster than we expect of him.
Now I'm gonna give him some credit.
All right.
Jake Paul is a tough guy. Jake Paul is a talented guy.
Okay.
But he's a bit delusional because he's young. He's not as good as he talks himself to be. He's not fighting no fucking Canelo. You're gonna get your ass beat down. Okay? It's not even gonna be funny.
You think that shit's funny?
It's not even gonna be funny. You're gonna get destroyed. And then Jake Paul was talking shit about the opponents that Canelo has fought. All those guys will beat the living shit out of you.
The worst Canelo opponent might be Matthew Hatton knocks him out. Jose Miguel Cotto knocks Jake Paul out.
No, I'm talking about he was talking about the second to last guy he fought, the guy that he fought right before he fought Joe Saunders.
He fought one of the brothers, Liam Smith, I think.
No, I'm talking about the guy he fought that everybody was criticizing.
Yeah,
he was a sparring partner.
Yeah, he knocked him out.
Brolic.
Yeah.
That guy
would beat Jake Paul.
Beat this guy, the former world champion, DeAndre
Demetrius Andrade?
No, he didn't beat Demetrius. Demetrius is undefeated. But he beat a former world champion, a legit former world champion.
So he's very formidable.
He's very formidable. He will destroy Jake Paul. So the fact that he fought this guy and bro, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I agree with
you. You don't know boxing. You don't know enough about boxing.
The masquerading is disrespectful to real boxers. I get that. Yeah. He is He's even disrespectful to you with your amateur background and your real life experience.
Yeah, because he don't
boxers.
He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's talented and he could probably get there one day, but no, bro.
You're not at that point yet.
You have ways to go, and Canelo will probably murder you in the ring. Like, that's not even funny.
So let's actually make our final predictions. What are you expecting Tommy Fury to do? What's the result?
By late knockout or decision.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And I see it pretty convincingly.
Okay. I have it Jake Paul winning a thin decision. And it's going to be based off his footwork and his jab.
Thin decision or unanimous robbery. That's what you have. You said it already.
I'm a politician right now. a thin victory. It doesn't matter. He will get the credit of the victory, and then he's gonna fight somebody else. He should fight. I don't know. He's gonna fight
KSI.
KSI. Oh yeah, avenge your brother.
Fight KSI because
brother, bro.
if you try to call out Canelo, he's gonna fuck you up that.
No, but if you are gonna go, if you are gonna go that way, get the bag and fight Canelo. Get the bag.
Canelo's not gonna fight him.
Get the bag. Now Canelo said he'll consider it, depending on what Jake Paul does.
Listen, Canelo is not. I don't even think he wants to waste his time because that is not even competition. You're not ready. You don't have the experience. This guy's been murdering grown men since he was 15, since he was a kid. Like you shut the fuck up, Jake.
He's been beating people up since he was a prepubescent teenager. And you think you're gonna mess with Canelo?
You're
you
stupid.
bugging out. He's
you
bugging
sound
out.
stupid.
He's bugging.
Canelo will fuck you up the ass with no Vaseline. Cut the shit out.
No Vaseline.
You a fucking idiot for that. Shut the fuck up.
Canelo eats tainted meat. You don't think he'll fuck you up?
You're not ready for that type of drama. You're nowhere near. Start fighting now. You're finally fighting another boxer. Canelo's fighting up here. He's fighting for pound supremacy. You're fighting to be known as a boxer. You're fighting for boxing credibility.
He's fighting for a Hall of Fame history.
He's
Canelo,
already one of the. To me, he's the greatest Mexican boxer already. He surpassed. He's 2 world champions away from surpassing Julio Cesar Chavez.
And we're confident that he's gonna do that.
You're fighting your first boxer, okay? You're not even fighting a champion yet. Shut the fuck up. That's it. That's my final
That's
statement.
the way. Yeah, say that again.
Shut the fuck up, Jake Paul.
And Jake Paul,
get some
like,
experience.
comment, and subscribe, Jake Paul.
Yeah, stop being a bitch.
Stop being a hater. Like and subscribe to our shit.